They grow up so fast. Physically, I mean. Mentally, she's, something. Amanda goes to college. Surprised she got in, honestly. As I said, I'm jumping forward in the narrative here, as the consensus seems to be to see her in her full beardy glory. If you want a bit of the backstory, however, there is a link to many other Amanda stories in a playlist in the description. So suffice it to say that Amanda spent her senior year alienating people and destroying both public and private property. Wonderful. Summer before college was pretty damn eventful too. If there's enough interest and I have the time, I will type that up at some point. So we had both headed out to college. I went to Penn State, main campus, and Amanda went to a smaller liberal arts college. Now, it might seem weird to the younger generation, but this was the first time that we had the real internet. Oh, internet! What a revelation! I had dial-up, with a parental time restriction set to 30 minutes a day. Amanda didn't even have a computer throughout high school. 30 minutes a day is madness. How am I supposed to feed my Neopets? To suddenly be at college, where there was a constant internet connection 24/7 in your room, was, well, a culture change. And the world would never be the same, for better or for worse. All of my high school friendships were suddenly kept up through AIM. This was pre-popularity of MySpace and Facebook. I had Amanda's AIM, and once in a blue moon we would exchange, "Hey, how are you? Good, okay," sentences, or comment on something that happened in our hometown with people that we both knew, but honestly we were barely in contact. Sounds like a welcome relief, all things considered. That spring, I did need to go home over one of those weekends. For some reason, I'm thinking it was Easter, but I might be wrong there. Freshmen were not allowed to have cars on campus, but I knew an upperclassman, Jamie, who was going home that weekend, and while Jamie lived fairly far from me, she would be driving within a half hour of my hometown, and so we arranged for her to drop me off where my parents could pick me up a bit easier. Now that's some feel-good teamwork, isn't it? The plan was that we would actually leave early Thursday afternoon after classes. Jamie had no Friday classes, and mine was a symposium class that I could easily get the notes for. We would then drive to her brother's college, spend the night as he had a morning exam, and then we would leave as soon as he was done. It turned out that her brother went to the same liberal arts college where Amanda went, so I contacted her to see if she wanted a ride as well. She said no, but also said that we should meet up and hang out while I was there. So far, so normal, I guess. Yeah, all that's about to change. Why would you agree in the first place? I guess we were friends at one point and we're hanging on to that for some reason. Thursday, we pull into campus and find parking. Jamie's brother was in class for another hour, so I said we should find Amanda and hang out with her first. Oh no, now you pulling Jamie into this? She ain't gonna give you no more rides after this. It was a small campus, and we found Amanda's dorm pretty quickly. I buzzed her room, and a voice came on and said, "Hello!" I cracked a joke about being from the High School Alumni Association. There was a silence. And then a voice, sounding confused, said, "Hold on." I looked at Jamie and said that I hoped that was Amanda and not her roommate. Next thing you know, there's a figure at the door, and I laugh. The door opens, and I say we're looking for Amanda and start apologizing. Then the figure shifts, and I recognize that body language. Oh, she looked different now. Probably not exactly what we would call a glow-up, though. I had known Amanda since we were 5. Our parents would frequently get together for dinners every summer. We went to an amusement park together. I had gone to school with her. I had done marching band with her. If you had told me that I wouldn't recognize her, I would have laughed in your face. It wasn't that she had just gained weight. There had always been a fussy side to Amanda. Even if she didn't dress or style herself well, she always had work to keep up her appearance, however tragic that might be. The figure in front of me was sloppy, wearing PJ bottoms that literally had mud on them, a huge t-shirt. She had cut and dyed her hair. While before it was usually pulled into a tight ponytail, it was cut short and flat around her ears, and it was a dark, flat brown. It looked like she hadn't washed her hair in quite a while. Gross, dude. I'm pretty sure this is only the beginning of the downward spiral, however. I sort of stated and then joked that I didn't recognize her because of the haircut. She just sort of shrugged it off. I introduced Jamie and she just sort of nodded, then turned and started back to her dorm. She literally hadn't said a single full word. I was starting to wonder if she was angry at me for some reason. She's angry at the world, OP. Don't take that personally. Amanda's dorm was messy. Overflowing trash can, overflowing laundry basket. Again, this was shocking for a girl who was previously so fussy. As soon as we got inside, she sat down in front of her desktop and just started clicking, totally ignoring us. Awkward. Jamie and I sat on her bed, idly trying to engage her in conversation. In retrospect, the walls were covered in printouts of anime-style drawings. It wasn't something that I knew that Amanda was involved with. Hell, I don't even think the knowledge of anime existed in our town until the mid-2000s, and I sort of thought that those cutouts must be her roommates. However, over the next few years, this would be proven completely wrong. I'm kind of curious as to which animes, but she'd probably be like, they're pretty obscure. You haven't heard of any of them. Okay, then, I wasn't that interested anyways. It was getting towards the time that Jamie's brother was getting out of class, and he had said he would meet us at the student center. I invite Amanda along, saying she could show us the campus as we go. She reluctantly agrees and walks out in the same PJs that she was in before. She just don't give a damn, huh? Completely given up. Sort of sad, but then again, it's Amanda, so... We get outside, and Amanda points out the building directly across from her dorm. It was the main building for her major. That's where all her classes were. There was a small convenience store downstairs which served subs, and that was where she got all of her food. Gosh, she really likes them sandwiches, huh? We were walking across campus when Jamie points out that we're headed toward the visitor parking lot. She hadn't seen the student center on the way in, so Amanda stops, looks around, and changes course. We walk a bit further. She finds a map of campus and changes course a third time. The campus wasn't that big, a half a dozen dorms, maybe 10 classroom buildings, but she was totally lost. Jesus Christ, Amanda, you haven't ever been outside your dorm room before? What the hell? Finally, we get to the student center. Amanda's looking around like she hasn't seen it before, ever. I press her, and it turns out that she hadn't been there all year. Not since orientation. We met up with Jamie and one of his friends and got some dinner. That friend is sort of hitting on me in a skeevy sort of way all the way through dinner. He mentions having the same major as Amanda, and I try to get them to talk about classwork. Amanda, however, is downright nasty towards him, saying that the major-related social club that he is a member of is a bunch of phonies and a-holes. I mean, he's a skeevy dude, that might be true or not. But considering all that we know about Amanda, yeah, they're probably just putting out the same energy that she was putting out. Anyways, Jamie's brother and his friend are pointing out campus stuff through the window. Just social talk, really, but it's a lot of school pride type of attitude. Amanda's just scoffing and rolling her eyes at everything they say. She starts talking about how she could have gone to an Ivy League school with her grades, and that she knows more than any of her professors. Finally, we just decide to eat in silence. Advisable. I don't know why she's here to begin with. Trying to reconnect with old quote-unquote friends, but yeah, just let that bridge stay burnt, honestly. There's no way that you're gonna force this. There was a small arcade downstairs, and we all decided to stop in and play some air hockey. Sweet! I'm leaning over when the brother's friend comes up behind me and starts sort of grinding on me. Ew! This school is a hell pit. Watch out for the brother, too. Birds of a feather and whatnot. I scoot around the table and end up sitting next to Amanda. We're talking out our sleeping arrangements, and Jamie's brother says that he only has room for Jamie. The friend sort of jumps in and says, I could sleep in his room. I say, I'd rather stay with Amanda and just invite myself over to her place. You definitely stuck between a rock and a hard place there. Oh, giggity goo. I get back to the dorm, and it turns out that she hadn't picked up the social cue of why I had invited myself over, so I filled her in. She was righteously upset as well, and started ranting about the members of his social club and what jerks they were. It was sort of a rebonding moment for me and my childhood friend. It might actually be kind of heartwarming if you didn't know already that inevitably it goes off the rails. I asked her about why she hadn't ever been to the student center. It turned out that she literally didn't go further than her dorm or that one classroom building. Her entire life was reduced to a 25-foot walk or browsing the internet. She didn't have any friends at college. Yeah, them college kids ain't gonna put up with the same stuff that the high school kids did. We're reforming friend groups, and unfortunately, Amanda is learning a hard lesson about not getting in where you fit in, you know? The whole 25-foot walk thing is also probably why she gained some weight. Come on, take a walk, it's good for you. Amanda then went back to silently browsing the web again. Gotta feed them Neopets. Then at some point she asked if I wanted to see some of her sketches. Sure. I was feeling quite close to Amanda in that moment, and drawing was a new hobby of hers that I hadn't heard about, and she handed me a drawing. I count this as the last moment of a lot of my innocence. Oh no! It was a badly proportioned picture of two half-nude people kissing. Kissing or trying to swallow each other's heads? I'm not sure if Amanda knows the difference. I really hadn't been exposed to too much at that point in my life as far as the anime subcultures, so I balked. Struggling for something to say, I asked if those were two girls. She snatched the picture back and said, "It was two guys!" Obviously, she wasn't happy with my response, so she continued to browse the web long into the night, not speaking to me again. I mean, you tried, OP. You had a 50-50 shot, you know? This is why you gotta say something vague, like, oh, nice line work. I don't even know what that means, but I just think people like to hear it. While I was back in our hometown, we also bumped into Amanda's mom, and I expressed my concern to her. Amanda wasn't socializing, wasn't bathing, wasn't getting out. I was worried that she was depressed. It turned out that Amanda had only been home once, and that was for Christmas. I later heard from Amanda that her parents were forcing her to go to therapy as a contingent on them continuing to pay for college, and she was furious about it, but I also felt that that was for the best, and this is where things started to get really weird. Oh, we're not in the really weird part already? Oh boy! I definitely do recognize the signs of depression as well. But how you feel truly is something that's always in your control. Sometimes you gotta fake it till you make it, you know? I would impart that advice to Amanda, but I know she wouldn't listen anyways, so I'm gonna save my breath, and we'll get on into the next story. Amanda versus the world. Yeah, they're all out to get you. If you're just joining us, this is the tale of a girl I grew up with who went to college and truly embraced the beard. Hate to see it, hate to see it. In my last tale, I had gone to visit her for a day and was really disturbed by her complete change in personality over the course of just a semester and a half. I was really concerned and worried about her. This was a girl that I knew all my life, and I felt that I was watching her trend downhill. I basically decided to make a point to contact her daily through AIM. I figured that even 100 miles away, maybe I could be some help to her. With her extreme internet usage, this was probably the best way to keep in contact with her, and we spent a ton of time talking over the months before summer vacation. I think she truly started to feel really close to me during that time, and she would vent a lot. Yeah, Amanda's always been a bit of a complainer, hasn't she? And while it is good to extend a social support network to her, a lot of the work that needs to be done in fixing Amanda needs to be done by Amanda and her therapist. I would not take all of this on, but you know, props to OP for being willing to. At some point, I asked why she had withdrawn so much. All these stories came through the haze of Amanda's spin, but I did get the general gist of things. Apparently, through freshman orientation, she had pulled some of her attention-getting stunts. Her version had that people were being so mean and all she did was sit on the stage, etc. Then she attempted to rush the popular rich girl sorority, of course, and they didn't take her bid. I'm guessing that she pulled her normal routines and they just decided that they wanted none of it. This had turned her against the whole school and everyone in it, so she refused to go out and do anything as a sort of rebellion. Bro, that is the smallest victory that I've ever heard of. It might sound harsh, but honestly, I really don't think people even notice that she's not there. She's only hurting herself with that. Yeah, Amanda was downright bitter about her school, calling everyone in it fakes and phonies who were mean to her. And her counselor was just a total a-hole who hated her for no reason. Her professors were all idiots who wouldn't let her talk in class. Basically, while small-town folk were only exasperated at her behavior, a new crew of people just shut her down, and she had no way of handling it or understanding it. How do you gently tell someone that they act profoundly weird and that is alienating to people? I mean, I guess you don't say it gently, but do get it out there. One hard conversation that might help her change for the better, you know? But okay, it's OP's show. Let's keep it rolling. Amanda's parents were forcing her to go to therapy by this point, which was, of course, a travesty in Amanda's mind. First of all, the therapist was located a whole block off of campus. Can you believe that? She had to walk there. Her tales about being forced to walk that far entered Tolkien-esque narratives. The woes of a mile round trip have never before been heard. At least not to this extent. Secondly, the therapist was giving her lists of things to do. Oh, like go eat at a new place once a week. Oh, bathe and change her clothes. What? And talk to a new person every day. Oh my God, this therapist is a maniac. No, seriously, if you took all this on board, if you tried to make some changes, I promise it would all turn out a whole lot better. But instead, Amanda was furious, beyond furious. She'd tell me all this over chat, then say she was going to refuse to do anything the therapist said in a rebellious way. Again, you're only hurting yourself. I don't know why you're choosing this. I tried to coax her into going, but she was stubborn. In a weird way, the therapy pushed her even more into her strange acts. The only thing that the therapy really did was help her find a Chinese place, which was across the street from the therapist's office. Hey, eat at the new place once a week. Check it off. Great job. We're totally making progress. Not really. And Amanda convinced her mom to give her money to go to that Chinese place after therapy. I think her parents did it because it did encourage her attendance, but it meant Amanda would only be away from her computer during her weekly plow through that Chinese buffet. This is self-sabotage to the nth degree, and I really don't know if it can be turned around. Amanda was also raging about the guy who had made me uncomfortable that time that I visited. Don't get me wrong, I appreciate that she supported me. Nothing is worse than being inappropriately touched only to have no one back you up. But she turned her anger into a downright witch hunt. Apparently, she sent a series of nasty letters to the school newspaper, blasting him, his social club, and the guys on campus in general. And when the newspaper wouldn't print those letters, Amanda went ballistic and tried to get me to write to the paper as well to coax them into printing the story. I refused and got a shameful lecture every time we talked. See, it wasn't ever about OP and what happened to her. Amanda's using this as a way to attack the people that she doesn't like for whatever mysterious reason. Still completely self-serving, still the same old Amanda that we've grown to loathe. Ironically, around the same time, she started telling me about her new crush. And as much as following someone around school was creepy, you know what's creepier? watching out her window as he went back and forth to class. The only good thing was that it forced her to go out more to creep around after him. Old habits die hard, I guess. The bad thing was that she would get rolls of film on CD and send them over email to me. Her crush, taken from the window of her room. Her crush eating. Her crush at the student union. Her crush in class. Her crush jogging. All of them had the taken while hiding look of a serial killer's collection. I told her I was cool. I didn't need to see those pictures, but they kept on coming for the duration of this crush. Bro, just go talk to him. I know you couldn't do it during high school for whatever reason, but it's college now. It's time to turn over a new leaf, you know? Take a shower, put on your finest moo-moo, and go out there and woo him. Amanda also saw nothing wrong with sending me more copies of her artwork. Badly done anime sketches of androgynous people. I had no clue what to make of them, so I sort of encouraged her to take an art class the next semester, as apparently she did have an interest. She was offended, however, saying that she was beyond the skill of the art teachers. Jesus Christ. Besides, everyone in those classes was phony and a total biatch. Then she'd send another picture, wonky eyes in 2 sizes, slid up into characters' foreheads, hands shaped like flippers, and an inexplicable number of abdominal muscles. The delusion never stops. How can you improve if you already presume that you're the best thing to walk the planet? I want to be shocked, I really do, but I'm not. Phonies was now Amanda's favorite word. She peppered it into conversation more than Catcher in the Rye. The professors were all idiots who she was constantly showing up, proving them wrong in class, calling out over their lectures. The people were all superficial and mean to her, and she talked about starting a blog to expose everyone. Dude, the only person that you're gonna expose is yourself. Amanda is the superficial and mean one. And when people start doing it to her, it's like holding up a mirror, and she just can't stand the sight of it. The things that we dislike most about other people are generally the things that we dislike most about ourselves. Anyways, did I mention that this was over at most like 2 months? Yeah, and then summer vacation started. Summer vacation, yeah, that was its own story. There was a whole evolutionary path unfolding before Amanda, and it really is fun to dissect, but also makes me immensely sad. She started out just being a weird little girl who was never able to cultivate any truly healthy friendships, but also never got called out about it. And so now she's in college, apparently by herself, and just drowning. The true reason that I lack sympathy for Amanda is that she refuses to even help herself. Kick your legs, do something. She's like, I can't swim, you just have to save me. I'm sorry, bro, you're too full of sandwiches. Anyway, I guess for the last story in this video, we'll check out what Amanda got up to during the summer break. And I'm sure things will only devolve further, so let's just get into it. Amanda gets a job, part 1. Oh, we get a part 2 at the beginning of the next episode. That'll be nice. I'm breaking this next part of the Amanda saga up into 2 parts. Amanda, if you haven't been reading along, is a girl that I grew up with who went full legbeard on me, basically. This takes place the summer after my freshman year of college, when Amanda had her first really big decline. My parents had come up with a rule that I wasn't allowed to have a part-time job during my school year. I think this was supposed to keep me focused on my studies, but instead it meant that I just had the summer to earn as much money as I could. After the crazy schedule I embraced that summer, my parents relented and I could work during the school year at a moderate level. That is a crazy rule from your parents, but I'm glad they wound it back. You see, I took a full-time job at an amusement park. It was 10 to 12-hour days, 6 days a week, and surprisingly physical. You were paid over minimum wage, but they only gave you the base pay. If you finished out the summer, you got the remainder at the end of the year as a bonus. Is that legal? This meant that I could expect a big paycheck just before the spring semester started, which looked pretty damn good to my 19-year-old eyes. I definitely get that. Proud of you for hustling, OP. The park was a little over an hour away, so I went part way with a bunch of other workers on a room in a boarding house style situation. We would cover the floors in air mattresses, try and ignore the cockroaches, take turns showering, and head out again in the morning. This is definitely like one of those live at work and only visit your house situations. Not the way I want to live, but yeah, you could do it for one summer. Other groups there partied into the wee hours, necessitating earplugs all around, but I had a quiet crew, content to jam as much sleep into the night as possible and go Dutch on coffee in the morning. MVPs. Once a week, I'd head home and do my washing up, prove to my parents that I was alive, and I would head back out again. Adulting is so hard, isn't it? I started the job the day after my school let out for summer. Amanda's college let out a bit later, and she came home to find that she had no internet, no money, no car, and no social life. Her parents were seriously pushing her to get a job. That's gonna happen. We had lunch at my house on my first day off, and I bragged about the pay situation and how I would earn enough to cover my needs throughout the fall and the spring. Amanda lit up and asked if I could get her a job. Oh wow, really? You promise you'll try your best to not suck at it? At the time, the hiring guidelines seemed to be mostly just having a cerebral cortex and a pulse. I knew she would be hired, but I tried to push her and told her that it was gonna be a hard summer. But she had some glamorous vision in her mind. Of course, she thought she would be a lifeguard. It was the closest thing she could think of to her dreams of being a surfer, and no doubt harkened back to her childhood love of Baywatch. I guarantee you she's not certified for any type of CPR. Please don't let her be a lifeguard. With this thought in mind, she went to the interview. The first issue was that she wasn't going to be a lifeguard because she lacked any experience lifeguarding, and her low swimming level meant that she was far more likely to need a lifeguard than to ever be one. Instead, she was going to be selling beverages from a push cart. I don't know what you expected, man. It really do be like that. Her job description being less glamorous did dampen her enthusiasm, although there was the slight matter of a car. While her mom occasionally let Amanda borrow hers, being gone day in and day out wasn't possible, and she would have to save up in order to purchase one. So she called me and asked if I would carpool back and forth. I explained the living conditions I had, and she went quiet, and then said that she would figure something out. Well, that's ominous. The next day was Amanda's first shift. I came out afterwards to find her leaning against my car in the parking lot. She had decided to go back to the boarding house with me, she explained. There was really no other option at the moment, so we got in the car with me telling her that this was an emergency situation, and it would only be for the night. She could try and get a spot in one of the other rooms, but really we didn't have an open spot for her. It was also obvious that Amanda had failed to prepare for this, just by the fact that her only luggage was one of those mini backpack purses. We had every available surface crammed with twin-size air mattresses, but Amanda hadn't brought one, meaning that she had to sleep on the floor near the door. I even had to lend her a blanket. I think she's starting to also qualify as a Kavina, right? There was just no critical thinking faculty available. Amanda just lay there, complaining and trying to convince someone to give her their air mattress, until we all finally put our earplugs in and ignored her. The right move to make, honestly. The next morning, I pointed out people from another room that might have a spot free. I mistakenly thought she spoke to them while I had coffee. I drove her over to the park. By this time, it was becoming evident that Amanda had no change of clothes. She was wearing the same uniform as the previous day, which she had also slept in. Dude, what? I recommended that she buy at least one more uniform to switch off into, and she said she needed to call her mom to take her home so she could get all the things that she would need to stay in their room. And Amanda nodded along. The following night, I came out to my car, and again, there was Amanda. She had explained that she hadn't found a room and moreover, hadn't called her mom. But I could just let her sleep in my room again, right? This is what some people might call a slippery slope. The line was drawn in the sand yesterday. Today is the day to hold it. Do it, OP. OP's not gonna do it. We had some back and forth, and finally I realized I had no choice. You did, though. It was close to midnight, and I wasn't about to call her mom, so to the horror of my roommates, I brought Amanda back to the room again. It was one of our roommates' days off, meaning that there was an air mattress empty, and Amanda seized on this, saying that she would sleep there. Another roommate interceded. Amanda could use it if, and only if, she took a shower first. At this point, Amanda was on 2 days in the same clothes and at least 2 days not bathing, the whole time having been out in the hot sun.
Oh, come on, guys, it's just my pheromones.
Get your butt in the shower, come on. It's good for you, so they tell me. Amanda was seriously offended by this statement, saying,
she was fine, she was clean.
But we didn't want to loan someone else's blankets and have her return to find that they smelled as though ferrets had mated on top of them, so we insisted. And then we threatened. Finally, Amanda got into the neighboring bathroom and proceeded to loudly sing-yell while showering. This passive-aggressive technique failed, as we all just put in our earplugs again. She came out, at least bathed, but wearing the same clothes that she had been wearing for the past 48 hours. Dude, she really has just given up. After 2 nights with Amanda, there's no way that anybody is gonna let her bunk in this place. Even if a spot frees up, I'm gonna post an ad on Craigslist. I'd rather have an axe murderer move in. The next morning, someone got donuts from across the street. Now, we had a food money jar that we were all adding to. Amanda obviously was not, but she helped herself all the same to the coffee and the donuts. Needless to say, my roommates were giving me dirty looks by this point. The next night, Amanda was leaning against my car, again. But the next day was my day off, so I was heading back to my house. I told Amanda that I'd take her home, but she needs to get a ride the next day, because we didn't share our days off. She asked if I'd be willing to drive her to and from work the next day. What? I had plans the next day, and 2 round trips would be 4 hours in total, so I said no. She whines that,
she doesn't have a ride otherwise.
I guess this was the time before Ubers and whatnot, but you can still call a taxi. Probably charge you through the nose. You're probably working for free that day, but at least you won't get fired. At least for not showing up. You might get fired for the smelly clothes, though. I don't know, man. This whole thing's devolving. Exasperated, I go to the employee phone and make Amanda call her parents' house. No answer. She tells me that she's not going home if I don't give her a ride the next day. Bitch, I don't care. What makes you think I'm invested in this situation? Obviously, OP is, but come on. At some point, it's time to pull the plug. And then one of my roommates was passing by and comes over to see what's going on. I sigh and say that if she'll take Amanda back to our room, Amanda can sleep on my mattress. I drove back the following evening so that I could be ready for an early start the next morning. The roommates filled me in that Amanda complained that I had taken my linens home to wash and that she had to sleep on a bare mattress. She'd wanted to switch to another bed, vacated by a roommate who shared my night off, and the roommates refused. And for some reason, I was enjoying my day off enough that I thought things might actually improve when I returned. Yeah, that's just a bit too hopeful for Amanda, isn't it? If we haven't learned by now, I don't know that OP is ever going to learn. You keep trying to save this person, but they are still putting in absolutely no effort. How long can you feel bad for somebody who continues to sabotage themselves? You're a grown adult now, Amanda. Get it together. But I know she won't. I guess we'll check out Amanda Gets a Job Part 2 in the next video. Thank you guys as always for watching. Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share the video around. Check out the links in the description. Many social medias for you to click upon. We've also got my Patreon patrons, my YouTube channel members. Gosh, they just doing the most out here for me. Thank you for helping me and mine to make it. Much love to all of you and yours. I hope everybody will come on back and see what we got in store for tomorrow. Keep yourself safe out there, wash your hands, and of course, always, always remember, friends, that you are loved, you are worthy, you definitely, definitely deserve it, and I shall see you in the next one. So until then, bye-bye.